Hello and welcome to this video for Module 3 for Project Selection and Planning. In this video, we're going to cover a variety of topics to help prepare you for the next phase of the program, which is the Project Practicum. Again, this is the phase of the program where you'll be working with your students and your class to connect with other classes in the program on a project exchange. So during this video, we're going to explore different projects and themes to help you select a project to conduct with your class. We're also going to prepare and create a project plan for your class throughout Module 3, and this video will prepare you to do so. So first, let's take a look at iEARN projects and what they are. So in iEARN, there's hundreds of teacher-designed and facilitated projects. So they're all created by educators who have participated in projects before, have an idea, and want to connect and guide other classes in the world through a project exchange experience. They're based mostly on asynchronous interaction, such as in the online course. So you'll be using the discussion forums and media sharing for all iEARN projects. And finally, they connect across many different subject areas and different education standards. So anywhere from math, social studies, creative and language art, foreign language, and technology projects. Many are cross-curricular. But as they're designed by teachers around the world, you'll find many different subject areas and themes addressed that are the focus of the projects. So across all of the different projects, the one thing that brings them all together is all projects must answer this question, and that's how will this project improve the quality of life for people and the planet? All of the iEARN projects align to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So we're engaging youth and connecting them on projects that relate to global goals and global issues for youth to make positive change in the world. So of the iEARN projects, we have selected a few to develop, particularly for bridge participants, for bridge projects. So in this video, we're going to explore the 5 projects, and here's the theme areas to connect classes in the U.S. and in the MENA region. So we're connecting students through projects on the environment, civic education, heritage, tradition, and identity, hunger and food security, and art and media production. So these are broad range areas that can connect a variety of different classrooms and subject areas through common interests. So we're going to preview these projects today in this video with introductions from the facilitators. But first, let's take a look at the difference between bridge projects and iEARN projects. So bridge projects are iEARN projects, but they're specially designed and recommended for bridge participants. This is because we have developed many project planning resources, such as curriculum guides and lesson plans to support your work. Also, we have trained bridge facilitators there to give you support and guide you through the classroom exchange experience. And through the bridge program with these select 5 projects, we'll also be doing the supporting with matching and grouping you with other classes in the program. So perhaps you'll be connected with the class who is also part of your online course group. You may meet other and new partners as well. Generally, there are about 5 to 6 classes that would be grouped in a project. And most importantly, the bridge projects have been coordinated to align with your timeline for project activities. So that's when you're ending the online course, that your students and classes can start to engage at the end of March and connect with others in the program. And this is to bring a high level of activity and a cycle of project completion for the end of the school year. We're also going to be organizing a few video conferences and special activities that relate to these bridge projects. So we highly recommend you explore and see if one of them fits with your curriculum. IRON projects, again, there's over 100 active projects that happen at any point in the year. So if you're having a hard time finding the right fit, we encourage you to explore IRON projects. They cover a broad range of topics and themes and subject areas. But one thing to keep in mind is that they vary in the timeline of activities. The facilitators may set a different schedule, and the project may have started a few months ago, or it may only be a short-term project, or may be on a different timeline than the one you need for completing a project for the practicum. So we encourage you to connect with the facilitators to find out what the timeline may be. And another thing to note is that the groupings happen differently in IRON projects. Either the facilitator supports project groupings, or the participants find and connect with their own partners as part of the project. So now we're going to take a look and explore and search the projects as part of the Bridge program, and also the IRON projects more broadly. So that way you can start to look at what's available and see what might fit with your class.
The best place to find more information about the 5 Bridge projects is at bridge.iern.org. On our Bridge website, you can find more information about the program, read blog stories, and learn about different activities as a part of the program, and also get connected to resources. In the resources section, you will find a link to the curriculum units. This will show us the 5 projects that are a part of the Bridge program. The first one is our arts and media themed project, which is called One Day in the Life in Alternate Reality. The second one is our civic education project called Got Power, the Future Citizen. Our environment-related project is the Earth Stewardship Project. Next, we have My Identity, Your Identity, which focuses on historical landmarks and famous places. And lastly, we have our project connected to hunger and food security called Finding Solutions to Hunger. To find more information about any of these projects, you can click on any one of them. It will provide you with basic overview of the project and the subject area it aligns to. It will give you a description of the project. It will walk you through week-by-week activities and focus areas, provide you with essential questions that are driving the project, examples of final outcomes. It will list possible final products that students may produce and work towards at the end of their project. You will find the curriculum and content standards, as well as any of the aligned sustainable development goals. And lastly, the project's contribution to others and the planet. At the bottom of each unit page, you will find a link to download the full unit plan. Here you can find more detailed information about the plan as you decide. This will also be a great resource once you have decided which project you are going to choose, and you can follow this unit plan week by week. It will provide all the overview information we just looked at, as well as weekly activities, guiding questions, and links to resources. So each week of the project, there will be an aligned unit plan section for you to gain resources and engage your students in various activities. Again, to access these 5 Bridge projects, you can go to Resources, Curriculum Units, and you'll be able to find links to explore each of those 5 Bridge projects. These 5 Bridge projects were designed specifically for this program to provide teachers with a supported, successful experience as their first project practicum. These units were developed by expert IRON educators, some of which you will hear from shortly. In each project, you will find the activities that will take place in the Collaboration Center. So I'm going to show you briefly what that will look like. Here's an example of the Future Citizens project from last spring. Once you have been added to your project of choice, your students will also automatically be added to that project and have access to it. You will be able to find the participating countries, your group facilitators, the About Resources section, which at the very bottom will include a link to that curriculum unit we just looked at. And most importantly, all of the project activity will take place in the forum. The forum will be divided into folders where students can engage in introductions, teachers can connect with one another, and there is a space for each weekly activity. Okay, so that's a brief overview and example of one of the 5 Bridge projects. While majority of our Bridge educators will select one of these 5 projects, we do have a select amount of teachers that have decided that these 5 Bridge projects may not align or meet the needs of their classroom and their students. If you are one of those teachers, you are able to select from our 100+ projects in the IRON network, which takes place outside of the Bridge program. In order to explore those projects, you go to Projects. You can find a list of all 100+ projects here. If you want to narrow down your search, you can do so here by typing in a word of the title, a keyword, age level, language, and subject. So let's say I'm a math teacher and I want to search for projects aligned with math. I can find a list of those here. If I want to learn more about the project, I can click on it, read more about the project, find out who the group facilitator is, because that would be the person I would want to contact to find more about how I can engage in their project during our project practicum time. So that's in Projects, and you can search the projects here. Another way to look for new projects and opportunities is on your dashboard, and you have a section that says Resources. You have a link to tutorials, a link to the teacher's guide, and a link to our new project book. Every year we come out with a new project book that is in physical print form that you can download. And this project book will go through all 100+ projects that are currently in the Collaboration Center. So once I've downloaded that, I can scroll and I can find a list of all of the projects that are happening this year and learn a little bit more about them. Another place to connect from your dashboard is down at the bottom. We have the newsletter. If you want to sign up for our news flash, you can enter your email address there. Each news flash provides opportunities for educators to connect with new projects or other opportunities in the network. And you can access all of our previous archived ones there as well. Okay, and lastly, I want to direct you to the Teachers Forum. Now, in the Bridge program, we have a Teachers Forum where all teachers in the Bridge program are able to connect and collaborate. This is the same thing, but is a Teachers Forum for all 50,000+ teachers that are a part of the IRON network. In this space, you have teachers all over the world who are connecting, sharing resources, coming up with new project ideas, finding partnerships, etc. So here is another great space if you are looking to connect with a partner or another teacher beyond the Bridge program. Okay, great. So we just ran through a couple different ways for you to explore all of the 100+ projects that are in the IRON network. As previously mentioned, we do recommend that teachers start with one of these 5 Bridge projects as they will be a more supported and successful experience as your first iron project during the project practicum. And next, we will hear about each of these 5 projects more in depth.
Hello, my name is Greg Riva, and I'm a science teacher at Streamwood High School in Streamwood, Illinois, USA. I've been teaching science for 22 years, and I've been involved with working with teachers and students on projects in the iEARN network for the past 3 years. The goal of project-based science, like the Bridge program and the Earth Stewardship Project, is to provide students with opportunities to use what they've learned in science and to challenge themselves to solve real-world problems that they face in their environment and in the world. Projects like this in the iEARN network provide learning experiences that require detailed analysis, critical thinking, and personal development in the ability to effectively communicate with peers from across the world, motivate students to use their own personal capacities to conduct scientific investigation, make judgment on the reliability of data, and to champion their findings, while at the same time to be open to discussion and scientific discoveries. Like all learning, science is a process. It involves creating a consensus of valued outcomes through valued reasoning. It is a well thought out process that requires diagnosis of experimental results. As students increase their understanding, they become experts in their studies and they begin to weigh judgment on knowledge gained, thereby more effectively contributing to this effort of discovery. Science is a discovery process that leads all of us to greater knowledge and ultimately greater appreciation for the universe that we inhabit. Projects help unleash student potential and aspirations. It allows students to use what they have learned, and it provides a level of autonomy from which to explore what is most important to their own learning. The research conducted in projects like their Stewardship Project is authentic and important to students, providing them time for sustained inquiry and reflection. Now, in the Earth Stewardship Projects, students work in teams. They harvest soil samples from the environment outside the school building, and they scientifically assess soil vitality and composition. You know, this seems to be one of the most interesting aspects of the project because the outcomes that they are presented are highly dependent upon local geography and local ecosystems. The science that is achieved becomes a thumbprint for who we are and where we come from. Soil has made our history. It sustains us, and immersion into this discovery process of this past is very intriguing. Students become very motivated to express others in the world where they inhabit and showcase the scientific discoveries that they have uncovered. Students also test the ability of soil to absorb water and soil's ability to transfer water through its mass over time period. The final analysis of experimental results can be shared with students conducting the same experimental analysis at locations throughout the world. Collaboration is exactly what it means, communicating with others in a unified effort to understand soil chemistry. It is this dialogue that creates wonderment. It spurs a feeling of pure enlightenment for the details of scientific discovery. It's just magical.
Hi, my name is Chris Bear, and I teach photography and graphics at the Martha's Vineyard Regional High School on the island of Martha's Vineyard in the United States. Today I wanted to talk to you a little about how I use iEARN's One Day in the Life project, and also about a relatively new iEARN project called Alternate Reality. The idea behind the One Day in the Life project is simple. Students exchange images and writing about life in their communities, and then compare and discuss what they see. Some themes we commonly choose include where we live, what we eat and drink, our community, and personalities. For example, in What We Eat and Drink, my students photograph and write about making a meal at home, while a student in Thailand photographs and writes about making a meal at their home, and a student in Morocco photographs and writes about making a meal at their home. And then they share and compare what they've made. Now, I use photography and sometimes video, but other teachers use drawing or painting or other medium. Some classes use no visual medium at all, but rather just use writing alone, and that can be fine too. A word of caution, photographs and artwork should always be made by the student whenever possible. Don't let them just take images off the internet. I also encourage students to try to allow students to make images outside of school, in their homes and communities, and not just in school. Many students have access to a smartphone which can make an excellent photograph. Students can capture a special event like a holiday or other special day, but they can also photograph regular life. Personally, I especially like seeing students share aspects about their ordinary day-to-day life. In Where We Live, students create images about the place where they live, whether it's their room, their home, or their neighborhood. What makes where you live unique? What does ordinary life look like? What do the spaces you inhabit look like? I encourage my students to photograph people when they can, and also to photograph actions when possible. I often tell students to photograph verbs, not nouns. It's more interesting to see somebody in their kitchen cooking a meal than just a plate of food, for instance. In What We Eat and Drink, students make images about what they eat and drink, with or without their family, on a typical day. Do they eat any meals at school? They could describe that. Where does their food and drink come from? Where do they buy their groceries? Who prepares their meals? Where and how and with whom do they consume it? In our community, students are encouraged to go make images of the downtown or market area of their community. What does your downtown look like? Are you near a commercial district? Are there any stores or shops or businesses nearby? Show us life on the streets. Visit a shop and show us the store owner or clerk. What does your traffic look like? In personalities, students find a person in their family or community to photograph or otherwise depict, but not just smiling for the camera, but instead engaged in something that they might commonly be found doing. Ask them to ignore the camera. Ask them not to smile, but to relax their face. Show us what they're doing. Tell us a story in your image that tells us something about who they are and what they do. I should remind you again that while I personally use photography, other teachers use video or drawing or other media. Next, students write about what we're seeing. Who is in the photo? What's happening here? What are they doing? Where are we? What time of day is this? Why did you take this photo? I encourage students to write at least 2 complete sentences about it and to emphasize everything that's not obvious looking at the photo. Also, what's the student's relationship to the image? Do they have a story that goes behind the image? Tell us about it. Sharing is typically done on the IRON forum, but the most important thing is to ask your students to really look at the work that they receive from their partners, to make good observations and ask good questions. What's going on in this picture? What do you see that makes you say that? What more can we find? And then to share their observations with their partners, ask good questions, and share their own connections and experiences. What does it remind you of? What's similar to your life and what's very different? Finally, students should be urged to answer questions promptly, acknowledge the time their partners took to look at and respond to their work, and to keep the conversations going.
Hello everyone, my name is Mary Brownell and I'm the facilitator of IRON's project Finding Solutions to Hunger, and I'm very happy to introduce this project to you and invite you to participate with students and teachers from all over the world to investigate the causes of hunger and to take action for food sustainability within our own communities, our own countries, and the entire world. We want to put to use all of the ideas that you could learn by participating in the project and move toward solutions and actions that students might be able to take. Finding Solutions to Hunger is a project in which your students will begin to understand the causes of root hunger and align the project work to the second UN Sustainable Development Goal, which is to end hunger and achieve food security and nutrition, and promoting sustainable agriculture. All three of the parts of that goal encompass so many areas of work that you and your students might end up doing, from investigating hunger issues and facts and causes, to taking agricultural action, nutrition action, and sometimes fundraising. The goal is teachers would be able to help your students learn to post their reflections and shared ideas, comparing them with those of students in other countries and communities. And if your students are very young, posting pictures of their activities or small recordings is also another way to share their growing understanding of why people are hungry and what we can do about it.
Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Manley, and I would like to share with you today a little bit about one of the 5 bridge projects. It is the project that falls under the theme of civic education. The name of this project is Got Power, the Future Citizen. This project and its curriculum was designed based off of the larger IRON project called the Future Citizens Project. This project covers subject areas including civics and government, social studies, world languages, English, and more. This unit explores power dynamics in society in order to empower students to better understand their role as a future citizen in their own country as well as a global citizen. Students will explore various entities having power and how they obtain that power. The driving question of this project is who has power and how do they get it? Students will answer the question, what is the role of citizens in society? How does the Universal Declaration of Human Rights give power to all people? How can I advocate for issues in my own community? What role do elections play in my government? And how does government impact my life? At the end of the project, students will engage in various final outcome and final activity projects, which may include a service learning project, creating a global citizen video that they share with their global peers, or engaging in some form of role play. This project helps students to understand the political systems in which they live and their role within that system. Engagement in the project develops connection to and awareness of global issues and universal human rights. Students learn the characteristics, values, and goals, as well as the skills of being a global citizen.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Russell, and I'm introducing a project today called the My Identity, Your Identity project. This is a long-standing IRON project and also one of the Bridge special projects as part of the theme Heritage, Tradition, and Identity. And this curriculum unit plan was designed by Nicole Bugebert-Diedrichs, a longtime Bridge facilitator from Orlando, Florida. So the My Identity, Your Identity project is great for classes that are covering history, social studies, English as a second language, or language arts. And in this project, students are encouraged to explore and research the elements that form their culture and identities. So in the IRON project, students explore anything from music and foods and different elements of culture For the Bridge project, the focus will be on exploring historical landmarks and famous places in the community, and looking at these places as a component of building culture and identity for a community. So the purpose of this project is to help students from around the world appreciate their own heritage through this historical landmark research, and also to learn about their peers' heritage and cultures. And so they'll be doing some comparing and contrasting through conducting research on their historical places. Some of the activities will include perhaps going on a visit to visit the historical landmark in the community, and compiling their research, perhaps interviewing experts in the community, and looking at other resources. And as a final project, students compile their information into written reports based on the interviews, oral histories, or any other graphics they've collected. They can put together videos or photo essays of their research and compile them with their peers around the world.